Hey everybody, it's me Edward Jones, aka Private Jones. For tonight, this is a video on just some takeaways on Ukraine's invasion. So as you guys see, I'm pretty sure you guys see, seeing the news. Russia has invaded Ukraine, and there's a whole lot of stuff that's been going on. But a couple things that I think that are worth are a pretty valuable piece of information, the things to learn from what's going on in that part of the world. And it also helps if you're a student of history. So the first thing I want to bring up is the I don't know if you heard about this, but it was before World War II. It was an event called I hope I pronounced it right, the Holodomor, which basically means death by starvation. So when Stalin gained control over Ukraine in like it was 1932, he severely increased wanted to increase grain production, and to the point where it was based because they started doing they created collective farms in Ukraine. And Ukraine was at the time the breadbasket of Europe. Uh, these quotas uh, were were devastating on the Ukrainian population, where they would actually there would actually be Soviet groups that would come around, confiscate every little bit of food. If you were caught with food, you were killed on the spot. And basically, this was done. This is a way of, I think it was a way of reducing the Ukrainian population. For some reason, I guess Stalin was just he was just sadist like that. It was mass starvation. It was a great famine because of the quotas. In fact, there were I watched a video where it talked about how there were actually the grain was being withheld, and there were some silos that had blown up because of the gases built up from inside the silos. There were reports of cannibalism. Even there were leaflets being put out there saying that cannibalism is illegal. And the reason why I bring that up is that Ukraine has been through this in the 1930s. Then they also been through the Cold. They've been through dealing with Soviet Russia during the Cold War. Now we get to this point. There is no excuse as to why there's gun control in Ukraine. The history has shown repeatedly that Russia is not a friend. Russia is not a friend of theirs, and whenever Russia saw saw an opportunity to, impose its will upon the country, they've taken it. They've done it. It was done with Crimea back in 2014. I think it was something else that happened in 2008, if I'm not mistaken. Please, let me know what that event was in the comment section if you know it. But through all these things, through all this conflict, and I understand Ukraine's a poor country. There's no excuse as to why gun control was something that was imposed upon the Ukrainian population. Now they actually create now they just recently their government unanimously passed a bill that said we're arming everybody. If you want to fight if you want to fight to protect the country, you're gonna be arm yourself with whatever you can. Which it's better late than never, but it should never have gotten to this point. You had all this history to prove that your country is vulnerable, and you can't afford to have a shitty policy like gun control take over your country, weaken your population. So there's that. Second takeaway. There's a need for leaders to be feared. A lot of people right now in the news is talking about, they bring up Trump. It's all good thing we don't have Trump in office when this is going on. If Trump was in office, this would not be going on, because this is something I understood about leaders like Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin and even Kim Jong Un. These guys understand power. That's all they know is power. So when you have adversaries that are this fixated on power, You cannot afford to put in. You cannot afford to put someone in office who does not grasp that concept, who does not understand. You have to. You almost have to be crazy. You have to be You have to be a madman to confront other madmen. Joe Biden is not a madman. He's black. He's a paper tiger, or he's a potato, as he's constantly called. On YouTube, he doesn't have it going on. The former vice president is not in a position to deal with this because he doesn't have the character to deal with this. Donald Trump does. You want to say he's a braggart or a blowhard, bully, this, that, and the other. Well, look at the kind of leaders he's had to deal with. And when people say, why is he kissing up to Putin, or why is he being buddy with Kim Jong Un? Because these are madmen. They are madmen. they are maniacs. You don't insult me. And that's something. And that's the thing about. That's one of the things about people, about voters who don't know this. They have no idea how leaders relate to one another. They have to share. They have to have a common. There has to be a common thread between them. There has to be a mutual respect, so they keep things like what's going on right now from going on. And understand that if a country that you believe is one that is willing to become your enemy, if it's ran by madmen, you better have some madmen in your corner in order to deal with them. Because madmen understand power. That's all they understand. That's all they want. That's all they respect, and that's all they care about is power. There's actually, I think there's a quote by Vladimir Lenin. It's a poke with a bayonet. If you feel steel, stop. If we feel mush, push. And if it's true that he said that lets you know how their leaders think. If you show any weakness, it will be exploited and used against you without mercy. And to have someone as crazy as Donald Trump in office actually was a benefit, because it let these other crazy men know, hey, we should talk with this guy because he's as crazy as we are. So we gotta find a way to, we know that we're willing to cause some damage, but if he's willing to do the same thing and more, maybe we should talk to him. And that's a kind of mutual destruction between individuals. You're not gonna have that between a wolf and a sheep. It ain't happening. And that's the kind of situation you have right now. A wolf, you have a wolf, and you have a sheep trying to dictate terms, trying to punish a wolf. Well, that's not really gonna work out. Another takeaway from this. Going back to this topic of gun control. Anytime someone wants to push forward this idea that, what do you need a rocket launcher for? What do you need, anti-tank rifles to listen? Look what's going on in Ukraine. They got tanks, jets. They got all these things that would show that it makes sense for the public to have access to heavy metal. Law rocket launchers, armor-piercing ammunition, flamethrowers, incinerator ammunition, hand grenade, the kind of things that scare people. The public should have access to, because look at what you got going on right now. Granted, it could have been prevented if the country had long ago prepared and understood who their true enemies are, but this is the situation they have right now. Now they're just giving away guns, and people are arming themselves any which way they can. I actually read an article that said they'll take people who aren't from Ukraine to fight. I think they said they'll pay Americans. There was some stories that they'll pay Americans $200,000 a year to fight to defend Ukraine, and then they got bumped up to $1 million a year. So they're in a mess. Now they are fighting back, which is good. I do admire that they're fighting back. You have, I think there was a mayor who, he was I forgot his name, but he was Jeremy from Midwestly mentioned this. Mayor of a Ukrainian town. He was a former boxer. He said he's willing to fight. And I guess to some people outside of that situation, that seems mad. It seems insane. There's an encouragement of people becoming refugees. But hey, listen, if this is your nation, why not defend it? You know, why push this burden onto other nations to do the job that you should be doing in your own home? I don't get it. You know, and this, and I think actually, and I believe it comes from, just being dependent on others to do things that you should be doing for yourself. Which points would bring out another point. Going back in history, Ukraine used to have nuclear weapons. They got rid of them, to have. I think it was part of some deal to have protection from NATO and from Russia. The problem is NATO is not really going. NATO can't go there to protect the country because Ukraine's not a member of NATO, and they're being attacked. They're being attacked by who they were depending on for protection. Russia. Again, they should have gone back through the history and understood that Russia has been nothing but a thorn in their side for so long. Why would they put themselves in a position like that? Why would they get rid of their nuclear weapons? I really don't think any country should get rid of their nukes, because of stuff like this. I think mutual destruction is a great strategy, to protect against this kind of abuse. But no, you have people who are just so idealistic and who refuse to look at history, who refuse to look at human nature, and who refuse to understand how predators work, basically greasing the skids for this kind of thing to happen. You know. Another takeaway from this is going back to some of the leaders. Biden's not respected. He's not feared. No one fears this man. Rightfully so. He's shown himself not worthy of that kind of power, which is why he gets laughed at. He's constantly made fun of. The media has to run defense for him all the time. They don't challenge him like what was done with what Trump faced. So he's getting what he signed up for. The problem is he ain't built like that. He ain't built of stronger stuff to be able to deal with this. So like I said, I'm gonna keep watching this thing because not only because it has an impact on not only because it may have an impact on our country, but just my own personal education. I think it's great to know how does Ukraine fight against something like this? Well, what mistakes will be made, what gains will they achieve? I think it'd be great. I think it'd be great intelligence gathering for preppers, for military strategists, even gamers. I'm pretty sure guys who play Tarkov or Stalker are watching this and are just having a field day. Because there's always something to learn from situations like this. But that's my video. Please share your thoughts. What do you think about what's going on in Ukraine? Do you agree with the points I made? Do you disagree? Please share your thoughts. I love to read people's comments. I try to respond to them in a timely fashion. Usually, if I don't have much to say, because the comment, was just pretty good on its own, I'll leave it at that. But I'll try to respond to everyone's comments. Like, share, and subscribe. If you want to help out with the channel, go to my YouTube homepage. Look for the Give Up That Cheese button. It'll take you to PayPal. All donation amounts are appreciated. Any gripes, complaints, see me at PM. I see what I can do to address them. Say a prayer for those who are staying behind the fight. That's my video. Some takeaways from the Ukrainian invasion. I'm Edward Jones, aka Private Jones. You guys take care, be safe, stay strapped, and God bless.